Yeah, hey, double C weed the Lord. Yeah, hey, double C weed the Lord. Yeah, this one costs a lot of bucks. Yeah.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the latest video. Now today we're going to be doing some more Final Fantasy videos, but we're gonna change things up a bit. Today we're going to be doing a little series going on. Actually, every week we're going to be running one Shadowbringer dungeon of Final Fantasy 14. I want to do that every week, one dungeon a week, leading up to Endwalker. I did not get a chance to react to the Endwalker trailer, unfortunately, but we are going to have plenty of videos coming up, especially coming up more recently next week, because the next patch comes out, patch 5.55, and it's going to be pretty lit, adding new dungeons, and I'm pretty sure one dungeon and one raid is going to add. It's going to be lit. It's gonna be the conclusion of Shadowbringer and the beginning of Endwalker. So look forward to that. But yes, let us get started. Alright guys, welcome to the very first Shadowbringer dungeon. This is the Holminster switch, and we're going to be going over the mechanics of this dungeon today. Alright, so if you made it this far into the game, most likely you already know how dungeons work. Tanks, feel free to tank as much as reasonably possible. Also be wary that the healer may not be comfortable with you tanking large groups, so just keep that in mind. Healer, if your tank is tanking large groups, just be ready to use your cooldowns and heal as much as possible. All these trash mobs are pretty basic. Some of them throw out a couple of AoEs here and there, but it's nothing to be that afraid of. After we get past the waves of mobs, we are now approaching the first boss. This boss is called Forgiven Dissonance. This boss is a pretty good tutorial boss on the new mechanics of Shadowbringer that it brings to the game. The first move is going to cast is called the Path of Light. Does group-wide damage, so healer be ready to heal the whole party. The next move is going to do, it requires it to go to the middle of the stage and it's going to cast Brazen Bull. Brazen Bull summons 4 orbs on the stage, and it'll then make a circle AoE on itself called Gibbet Cage. Be sure to avoid this as possible. Along with Gibbet Cage, it'll also have a massive X-shaped line AoEs going in a crisscross shape. There's only one area you can avoid this on one side of the stage. Find it, run to it, and you have plenty of time to get to it, so there's no need to rush to avoid this. Along with this, it'll cast Thumbscrew, which is a massive line AoE. It'll cast in that safe zone. Be sure to move on the sides where it's safe. After that, the orbs will cast line AoEs, along with the boss casting its own AoE in the shape of a massive cone called Wooden Horse. Be sure to move in the gaps in between the line AoEs to avoid the orb AoEs and to avoid the boss's cone-shaped AoE. The next move the boss will use is Pillar. Pillar is a tank buster. I'm sorry, it's pronounced Pillory. The boss is then going to use Brazen Light again. It is going to summon the 4 orbs again on the field. But this time it's going to be in a H-shaped pattern. There are 2 sides of the field you are able to avoid this. You are either able to go on the west or the east side of the field. The boss will use Thumbscrew on one of the safe zones, so be sure to avoid this when the H-shaped AoE goes off. Be sure to move to the side to avoid the boss's line AoE. After that, the orbs will cast their line AoEs. Make sure to go into the gaps to avoid all damage. After this, after some time, the boss will cast its final Brazen Bull. The boss will do these in different orders this time, casting Thumbscrew first. Be sure to avoid this, and it'll cast the large X-shaped crisscross AoE. Be sure to go into the safe zones from the first time. Then the boss will cast Wooden Horse, avoid the cone-shaped AoE, and will also do the X-shaped AoE again, along with the orbs casting their line AoEs. You will have to move on the entire opposite side of the field that you were just on to avoid all damage. You also have some time before this goes off, so you have plenty of time to avoid it. The boss will also use Wooden Horse, and the orbs will also use their line AoE again. Be sure to move into the gaps to avoid damage. After that, the boss will use all the mechanics and repeat until it is down. Alright, so when the boss is down, you will be in a field where you will have multiple ads you need to pull. Nothing too special about these ads. You just need to make sure if they're big pulls, use cooldowns, and healers be ready. Alright, so the next boss is called Tesling the Forgiven. This boss is pretty easy as well. It gives some new mechanics and also a nice little tutorial boss for what's to come in Shadowbringers. The first move is going to cast is called Skull's Bridle. This is a group-wide attack that does damage to the whole party, so healer, be ready to heal. The next move it's going to do is called Fevered Flagellation. This move gives each party member a orb on their head, 1 through 4. Now, and they also have a color. This is an indication on what order the boss is going to attack in. You want to move as far away as possible to minimize damage. You also do not want to cross each other. You don't want to have 3 people standing in a row, or else the middle person is going to take substantially more damage. You want to turn yourselves into a box position to avoid extra damage. The next move is going to do is called Exercise. This move makes 4 pools of AoEs on the ground and a stack up indicator on a random person. Be sure to stack up with that person because a pool will drop on top of them and you need to minimize the damage that they will take. Be sure if you have the stack marker, you stack up in a place that's easy for the tank to maneuver the boss. Do not have it in a small narrow space, specifically on the sides. Be sure to have it more in the middle. The boss also has an ability called the Tickler, which is a tank buster. Tank be sure to cool down and healers be sure to heal as necessary. These moves will all repeat in quick succession until the boss is defeated. The next area will have you in the little circle plaza in the town. Now there will be these cocoons on the ground that will hatch after every group of mobs is defeated. Defeat them and the way to the boss will be unlocked. So the final boss of this dungeon is called Philia. Philia is quite the big boss, but don't be intimidated. It's actually pretty simple. Philia will cast an ability called Scavenger's Daughter. This ability does group-wide damage to everybody, so healers be ready to heal the party. The boss will also cast a tank buster called Head Crusher. Be sure to pop cooldowns and heal as necessary. Next thing this boss is going to do is called Pendulum. This move will always target the tank. Everybody that's not a tank needs to go on the opposite end of the field from the tank. And you guys need to go on the edge of the field to minimize all damage, because the boss will also have a AoE wave going from the tank to the middle of the stage, doing damage to both the tank and then one to the entire party. The boss will then use Chain Down. Chain Down is an ability that'll target a random person on the field. You guys need to break the chains before it is able to use its next ability. That next ability is called Ether Sup. Ether Sup is a cone-shaped AoE that'll do massive damage for whoever is still in the AoE by the time the cast is up. After that, the boss will then use Left Hook. It'll raise its left fist into the air, and you will have to move to its right side. This is important because it'll do an attack that takes up half of the left side of the field. So when it has its left fist in the air, move to the right. Right fist in the air, move to the left. It'll always do it within quick succession of each other. The last move it'll show is Fierce Beating. It'll raise its right fist in the air and have arrows going clockwise around it. This means it's going to spin around for each attack it does. You want to make sure you stay away from in front and behind it. Stay onto the left side of the boss. The boss is also going to hit the ground 2 times, and that will cause rocks to appear from below. You want to make sure you stay away from its fist during the second time it pounds on the ground. The rocks will always appear where its second fist hits the ground. Make sure you are always going in a circle and avoiding the AoE behind it. This might take a little time to get adjusted to because this is a new mechanic for the game if you are new to it, but with practice it will make perfect. And just remember, avoid in front, stay away from the back, stay on the side. And after that, the boss will use a stack up marker called Into the Light. This will do group wide damage, so healer, be ready to heal. And after that, that is all the moves the boss will pull out. Everything else you have already seen, so now just take care of the boss. Alright, now congratulations, you guys have defeated the first dungeons of Shadowbringer if you are following this. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. It was kind of hard to do. I've never really done a guide like this explaining dungeons. So it is going to take a bit of time for me to get used to and explain things properly. I'm not a huge expert on the game, so I'm not going to explain things like the way more like other people will explain, like Mr. Happy or Miss Tech or anything like that. But I'm trying my best. If you guys enjoyed this, leave a comment on what you want to see. I will be uploading these once a week. I will be uploading these dungeon videos, and I might throw in a trial or a couple trials here and there. We'll see. But yeah, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.